I found a piece by Ed Whalen about Miguel Estrada. He was nominated in 2001 by George W. Bush and making part of one of the 11 appellate nominees for the D.C. Circuit. And that was way back in the day. So apparently there was some brouhaha last summer over Estrada, and the Democrats were basically trying to get rid of him, which makes sense if you think that you're going to lose the presidency and you're looking to take people out that could be nominated to replace a Supreme Court justice. In any event, we'll continue talking about it here. Let's talk about, we'll come back to this because John Daniel Davis is going to talk about this top of next hour. Let's talk about what happened yesterday with the destruction, the demolition of the Department of Education. By the way, since I was kind of on air, but I guess broke into the regular scheduled program, I didn't get to say yesterday when Trump signed that executive order. If you were to go back, and again, I wish I could find my copy because I would just read you from it. If you could go back and look at what Thomas Sowell wrote about what was happening inside, and the book was Inside American Education in 1991 or 1992. This is 10 years or 11 years after the Department of Education was formed by Jimmy Carter in 1979. If you were to just look at what they had already done in a span of 12 years of all of these parasites and these leeches. Did you know, for example, in 1979 when the DOE was formed, back then the American Federation of Teachers had not been taken over by the American Communist Party. The AFT actually opposed the Department of Education because they didn't want to be told what to do with their teachers from the top down, from Mordor and the Potomac River. Of course, you know what happened, that the AFT ultimately is basically, now it's a fully functioning arm of the Democrat Party and the Department of Education. Do you know that the DOE was spending $280 billion a year? Their last year's allocation was how much? $280 billion. You know, I keep hearing all of this stuff about we're going to send this back to the states. Well, the states can't wait to get in charge of this. The states are going to do this and the states are going to do that. Why put the states in charge? I mean, I get the concept. I understand why he says it. So I'm not knocking him for it. There's a bill right now in the state of Illinois that would basically bring Illinois Department of Education bureaucrats and social workers into any homeschooling home in the state of Illinois to conduct inspections and interview the children. Well, you know what they're going to interview them about. How's your religion class going, little Johnny?
Oh, it was just really good. My mommy teach me. We're talking about Jesus and about.
Yeah. I'm not really worried about that, Johnny. Has mommy or daddy in your homeschooling class, when you have your religion class, have they talked to you about sex?
What's sex?
Well, you know about the birds and the bees and about how babies are made and where they come from. No. Okay, I have not talked to them about sex. Have they talked to you about transitioning, little Johnny?
What is he? No, about Transformers. Yeah, we play with Transformers.
No, about You know what's going to happen here? You know what they're trying to do here? And the legislature in Illinois is probably going to pass this thing. And that fat pumpkinhead, transgendered wacko lunatic, J.B. Pritzker's obviously going to sign it. You people that are homeschoolers now in Illinois now have to deal with a vicious, vindictive, center-controlled bureaucracy in the Illinois Department of Education. It's going to be far worse than the federal version ever was because it's closer. Doesn't have to drive as far. It can dispatch its swarms of agents out to eat out your sustenance just from like a half a day's drive away, depending on where you live. So sending it back to the states, is that a solution? Well, at the end of the day, do we want the states having anything to do with educating the children? State is still a government entity, and the state is still going to teach the little children exactly what I told you yesterday is their big bread and butter, which is, we're the state. And so the first thing you have to learn about the state is that we have to exist or you're dead. If we don't exist, if the state government doesn't exist, then mommy and daddy can't protect you from the marauders in Texas riding in here on their Mad Max steel chariots and taking everything from you and then kidnapping you and bringing you back. So without us here, and they're going to teach them good things about government. And they're going to teach them that, no, government is friend. You know what George Washington said government was? George Washington said government was fire. Literally was fire, which is why he did not want to go to the Federal Convention of 1787. They basically had to lie to him and tell him that he had to do it for his men. And if he didn't do it for his men, that many of their, because they owed a lot of money, many of them were going to die destitute. The new government had to come in and take over and had to assume or had to assume all of the debts. And this was done, by the way. There was an assumption. But you know who didn't get paid after Hamilton's assumption of the Confederation debt? The soldiers. They still didn't get paid. They never got paid. And this is one of the things that George Washington regretted to the day he died. In any event, yes, Maggie.
I say, when you're talking about state government and state running education, we know that state government can also be tyrannical and overstep and overreach. We saw it during COVID. They did the same thing with the state lockdowns and everything else.
That's right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's happening in Illinois. Now that, okay, folks, you're not prepared for this. Again, the stupid party has is leaving you people vulnerable. You need the King Dude. You need me and others like me to prepare you. Don't let this end of the DOE be another Dodd. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen now. You know what those little bastards are dreaming up right now? They're going to try and get initiatives on the ballot to bring about an end to homeschooling and to bring the hammer of Thor down on homeschoolers' heads, just like they did with abortion. And don't think it can't happen in your red state, Ohio. You have one of the most tyrannical, the most lethal, the most vicious abortion laws now on the books and now attached to your Constitution. Look, we're all for the decentralization, but you better, I'm just warning people. You not get way out over your skis here and forget what they did with abortion, because as the DOE gets dismantled, I'm telling you, they're going to go to the state legislatures and they're going to start filing bills. They're going to want ballot initiatives and they're going to try to make the homeschoolers the enemy. They're going to try to make Catholic schools, not that they're much better than public schools, these either government schools, they're going to try to make public or private schools the enemy. So they're going to go back to waging this war the way that some of them waged it before the Department of Education or before government was involved or there were government schools. So if you don't get prepared for this, and I know there's a lot of homeschooling outfits out there. The Ave Maria, that's one the Simpsons are in. There's the Chesterton School. You know, there's a lot of really, really good homeschooling outfits now that help you with curriculum and all that. Guys, you better be prepared for what's coming, because just what's going to happen. They'll start in a big state, in a blue state like California and New York. They'll get it done in there. They'll get it done easily. The parents better be prepared, and the entities that are helping with the curriculum, you better be prepared to go to war, because they are going to bring a war. They're out there barking about it right now, but they're just licking their chops, going like, you know what? We don't need the big federal Bureau of Education. We'll do one in every state and we'll take it over. These people don't want to go back to work. Ladies and gentlemen, they don't want to go into productive work. They don't want to do things that are productive. This is not who they are. These people are evil. They're fat. They're lazy. They're sloth. They're perverts.